Hello, wonderful beings. Welcome to Wheel of Wisdom. My name is Anisha, and I help people live a more authentic and fulfilling life. So, this is a little bit about me, and I would love to know about you. So, feel free to share in the comments which part of the world you're joining us from, or perhaps what is the time there. And until you guys do that, let me quickly share what we do here in these lives. So, we usually begin these lives with a meditation that is around 20 to 30 minutes, and it is based upon the quote that you see on Insight Timer. So, we really soak in the wisdom from that quote and feed it to our subconscious mind. And once we are feeling more centered, more open after the meditation, we move on to phase two of this live, where we spin the wheel of wisdom and let the universe choose a book for us from that wheel. And once we have a book, we play a game where I ask you guys to choose some numbers and we do intuitive readings based on that. So you receive the message that you need to hear most today. So, this is all that we do. I will share more details when we get to each part, but for right now, I would love to know that are you guys ready for a meditation? Like, are you guys settled wherever you would like to meditate? And if yes, type ready in the comments. Caitlin says, hi, it's 8:30 a.m. in New York. Hello, Caitlin. I'm so happy to have you here again. And yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, it's not too early. I'm glad. Okay, Samira says, hi, I'm joining from Vancouver, BC, Canada, and it's 5:30 a.m. Saturday. I set my alarm at 5:20. I love your live, so I got up very early to enjoy this session. That is so sweet, Samira. Thank you so much. I like I'm just taking that in. I am honored that you woke up early, you sacrificed your sleep to be here. It's lovely to have you here back again. Frank says, good morning from Vancouver Island. Good morning, Frank. Welcome back. Okay, we have a lot of like regulars here today. V is ready for the meditation. Frank is ready. Lacey says, hello, good morning. And Lacey is ready. Hi, Lacey. Welcome. And good morning. Caitlin says, ready, settled with my yarn. Okay. What are you like? Are you creating something, Caitlin? Are you like, what are you creating with your yarn today? Esther says, hello everyone. I'm joining from upstate New York. It is 8:30 a.m. here. Thank you, Esther, for choosing to spend your time with us. um, Samira says, you're welcome. I'm totally ready. Wonderful. Robin says, hello, fine friends. Hello, Robin. Welcome back again. Caitlin says, a tank top. Pattern test for a new friend. Ooh, interesting. I'm looking forward to see how that turns out, Caitlin. Okay, so give me a second to like post a message in the comments for those who will join us during the meditation so they know what is going on. So just give me a minute to do that. Okay, done. So we have a few more messages. Let me also read them and then we can begin with the meditation. Okay, let's see. Frank says, it has been a while. Yeah, we missed you, Frank. Great to be back. I set my alarm as well. Oh, that is, you guys are so amazing. This is a birthday treat for myself. Oh, happy birthday, Frank. Ah, I am so happy that you chose to be here on your special day. And I'm wishing you so much love, so much, joy and moments of peace as well. I hope that you enjoy your day and this year brings you whatever it is that your heart wants most. So yeah, welcome Frank. Stephanie says, "Good morning, everyone, from St. Louis, Missouri." Hello, Stephanie. Sorry, hello, Stephanie. Welcome to the space. Happy to have you here again. Let's see. Esther says, "Happy birthday, Frank." Hi, Kathleen. Welcome. And hi, Max with the Kathleen. Okay, Caitlin says, "Oh, Samira, lighting my candle for peace and love now." Beautiful. Samira says, Sorry to share this sorry to share this bad news on here, but it's tough to be mindful these days for me, and I hope I become calm and less anxious here." I hope the same for you, Samira. Um, Caitlin says, "That is heavy to hold inside. It is a heavy thing. We must be the light, especially now, sending care to you and yours." As you say, sending love to you, Samira, and your family. Ah, I I pray that Samira, may you and your loved ones be safe. May things turn out to be better, and may you find moments of ease amidst the chaos. Okay, so let me take a sip. So begin by coming into a comfortable position. You can choose to sit, stand, or lie down. Whatever your body needs right now. As you begin to settle in this position, allow yourself to take a deep breath in, and with the out breath, closing your eyes. Feeling the support beneath you. Let the ground hold you completely. Softening your forehead, unclenching your jaw, loosening your shoulders, opening your chest, and lengthening your spine. your attention on your breath, noticing the air move in and out, feel your mind becoming more peaceful and settled, allowing yourself to drift deeper and deeper into a relaxing state. Arriving at the doors to your subconscious mind. Today, we are going to reprogram our subconscious mind using the wisdom from a timeless quote by John Lubbock. The quote is: what we see depends mainly on what we look for. What we see mainly depends upon what we look for. John Lubbock. This quote is reminding us that our experience of life is shaped by what our attention is trained to notice. Our brain contains a filtering system called RAS, Reticular Activating System. Because the world contains far more information that we can consciously process, this system helps decide what gets through our awareness. Our expectations, beliefs, and past experiences creates a kind of lens through which we interpret what we see. If we expect problems, our attention quickly finds them. If we look for opportunities, support, progress, or small positives, then those becomes easier to notice. So basically, our mind often confirms what it is already searching for. So this quote invites us to become more aware of where our attention is directed, because our focus quietly shapes how we experience our lives. So take a moment now to think about something in your life that has been on your mind recently. And now notice what your attention naturally goes towards when you think about this thing. Does it tend to go towards what might go wrong, or on what might be possible? Now reflect that what might I notice if I intentionally looked for something supportive, helpful, or encouraging within this situation? Think about anything positive in this situation. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be as small as, even though this is going wrong or this is hard, at least I have the support of my loved ones, or a hope that the situation might teach you something or might help you grow into someone that you want to become. And now hold this situation gently in your awareness and allow the affirmations that I am going to share in a moment to reprogram your mind to become more open to new possibilities because we are not here to ignore the difficulty but to remind us that we have a choice on what to focus on, and what we focus on brings us more of that. So, in a moment now, I will share with you certain affirmations. I will repeat each affirmation 3 times. For the first 2 times, simply let those words land into your subconscious. On the third time, if you feel called, you're welcome to repeat the affirmations after me. So let's begin. You notice where your attention goes. You easily notice where your attention goes. I notice where my attention goes. You can gently guide your attention to something constructive. You can gently guide your attention to something constructive. I guide my attention to something constructive. You stay curious about what you see. Instead of jumping to conclusions, you stay curious about what you see. I stay curious about what I see. to see more possibilities. You allow yourself to see more possibilities. I allow myself to see more possibilities. You remain open to new perspectives. You remain open to new perspectives. I remain open to new perspectives. You hold a wider view of reality. You hold a wider view of reality. I hold a wider view of reality. You acknowledge the difficulty. You accept the challenges. I accept a challenge. But you also notice what is still working. You easily notice what is working in your favor. I easily notice what is working in my favor. You appreciate the small positives. You appreciate the small positives. I appreciate this the small positives. I notice what supports me. You notice what supports you. I notice what supports me. You recognize opportunities around you. You recognize and grab onto the opportunities around you. I recognize and grab onto the opportunities around me. What you look for becomes easier to see. What you look for becomes easier to see. becomes easier to see. You did great. And now that you have planted these seeds of wisdom into your subconscious mind, know that with each repetition, these seeds will continue to grow and eventually bear fruits in your life. So, with that knowing, if your body and mind needs more rest, then you can allow yourself to drift into a peaceful sleep. And if you feel ready to meet the day ahead of you, then allow yourself to bring some small movement to your body, perhaps wiggling your toes or your fingers, or moving your whole body however it wants to be moved. And now, when you feel ready in your own time, gently open your eyes. Welcome back. Oh, my dear ones, I see a lot of new amazing people who joined us during the meditation. So, in case you guys missed the meditation, which was upon today's Insight Timer quote, like on the home page, that I will share towards the end of the live where you can find it. But for now, I would love to hear from those who did meditated with us. In case you guys feel like sharing your experience of the meditation or your favorite affirmation, you can do so in the comments. And once I read your comments, we will move on to phase 2 of this live, where we will spin the wheel of wisdom and receive the message that we need to hear most today. Okay, so let's see the comments. Hello, Chandan. Good morning and welcome back. Robin says, picture possibilities is equals to simple solution. Yeah, exactly. Love that. Thank you, Robin, for summarizing it. Kim says, "Good morning from Mexico City." Good morning, Kim. Welcome back again. We missed you. Samira says, "Good morning, Frank from Vancouver Island. You live on a beautiful island." Oh, is that? Okay. After this, I'm going to search Vancouver Island. uh, uh, okay, let's see. Kathleen says, "It was a beautiful reminder that what we see what we are looking for." I'm gonna be very intentional about that today. Thank you for a beautiful start to a new day. I love that, Kathleen, that you are, taking that um, wisdom and you're promising yourself that you're going to put it to action. And I hope that, since you set a beautiful intention, you notice beautiful things, all over your day. So, yeah. Lovely. And we all can do that, we all can take inspiration from Kathleen and set an intention that I'm going to notice things that I'm grateful for today, things that are going right for me. Because even in the most difficult situation, there is something that we can find that, okay, this is not, messed up right now. At least this is neutral, if not positive. So we can acknowledge that. Um, And once we do that, once we shift our focus, we are easily able to notice more things like that. As the quote mentioned, Samira says, "It was so beautiful and relaxing, this meditation session for me, and made my mind at ease." I love that. I'm happy that that happened for you, Samira, that your mind is finally feeling a little bit settled. And I hope that you continue to carry that state with you for as long as you can. Okay, guys, now it's time for phase two. So, give me a second to show you guys our wheel of wisdom. So, this is our wheel of wisdom, and this wheel contains the name of 51 transformational books that I have read in the past 10 years of my life. And now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a moment and ask ourselves, what do I need guidance on today? And see if something specific emerges, like a specific issue, a specific dream, or something in between. So, hold that in your awareness. Or if nothing emerges for you, then simply send this beautiful wish into the universe, to God, to whatever you believe in, that may everyone listening to this receives the message that is for their highest good. So, holding either of those things in your awareness as we spin. Okay. So, the book that came up is Daily Stoic 366 Meditations on Wisdom by Ryan Holiday. So, give me a second to open the book. Okay, we have a message. So, Samira says, "Made me feel very calm and think more positive, especially during this hard time for me. I imagine to hear soon from my family back home. Internet down there has been cut off, so I haven't heard back from my grandpa, who is in the hospital there, and my other close relatives. I imagine that God will help them and keep them safe. Our wishes are with you, Samira, and I hope that your grandpa is safe and his health is doing better, and that both he and you can feel, some peace within yourself. Leslie is sending some nice wishes to Samira. So is Robin. So is Frank. Wonderful. And Kathleen says, "Oh, good book." Yeah, it is. It is. So this is our book, guys. And now, give me a second so that I can choose some numbers so that we can play a game together and receive some intuitive readings for today. So, my lovely, amazing souls, I invite you guys to pick a number between 18 to 390. And there is no rush. I will choose a number randomly based on my intuition. So you guys just share the number that comes up first in your mind, okay? So let's see what wants to come through. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Raghu. Thank you, Samira. Okay, it's like 21, 22, 23. Interesting. Thank you, Rhiannon. Good morning. Welcome back again. Thank you, Frank. Thank you. Um, dear Lacey, can you please choose another number between 18 to 390? Thank you, Esther. Anyone else who would like to choose a number? Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Chandan. Okay. Kathy says choose Frank's number since he is the birthday boy. Hmm. Okay, let's do that for Frank. I love having him here. So yeah, let's do one for the birthday boy. Okay. And then I will do another reading, so don't worry. We will like catch your number for the ones who don't know Frank. Okay, so okay, Samira is asking, is there any specific reason for the range of numbers you chose, dear Anisha? Okay, so yeah, like a very normal reason. Like, so when I open the book, so what I've done is like I have highlighted the insightful paragraphs or the transformative exercises from these books. So what happens is in the book there is usually in this initial pages there is like table of content and all of that thing, and in the end pages there is like extra things. So I choose the mid numbers where the content is present. That's why I give a range. Okay. So let's see what is Frank's number. Hmm. And I'm actually feeling called towards that number. So let's go with page number 58 for Frank and for everyone else also. You guys won't be here if you weren't meant to receive that message. So let's see what is on page number 58. Okay, so the heading for this is Fear is a self fulfilling prophecy. So there is a quote by Seneca, and the quote is many are harmed by fear itself, and many may have come to their fate while dreading fate. So, the like the other part, the other content here is only the paranoid survive. Andy Grove, a former CEO of Intel, famously said, only the paranoid survive. It might be true, but we also know that the paranoid often destroy themselves quicker and more spectacularly than any enemy. Seneca, with his access and insight into the most powerful elite in Rome, would have seen this dynamic play out quite vividly. The combination of power, fear, and mania can be deadly. Give me a second. So there's the story. Okay. So Nero, the student who excesses Seneca, tried to curb, killed not only his own mother and wife, but eventually turned on Seneca, his mentor, too. The leader, convinced that he might be betrayed, acts first and betrays others first. Again, the leader, convinced that he might be betrayed, acts first and betrays others first. Afraid that he is not well liked, he worked so hard to get others to like him that it has the opposite effect. Convinced of mismanagement, he micromanages and becomes the source of mismanagement. And on and on. The things we fear or dread, we blindly inflict on ourselves. That is why the heading Fear is a self fulfilling prophecy. So, huh. And I guess that is what, so many fights, so many conflicts and wars and everything has been about that we think that the other person, party involved would harm us. So, to protect ourselves from not getting harmed, we end up harming them first, thinking that they would have nothing, they would not be able to harm us in the future. So, and when we actually harm them, it is going to come back to us in some way or form, and that is how our fear, what we were afraid of, might turn true. And so, with the other example that the author shared, we fear that things might not be managed properly, so we micromanages everything, every single thing, and then we becomes a source of mismanagement. So the thing is here to, whatever fear you have, firstly become aware of that, because a lot of times we do things we are not even aware of why we are doing it. We see that they are like, um Rhiannon says that's a difficult reading to unwind, a bit confusing. Yeah, so it's sometimes confusing to, like explain the loop thing or the cycle thing. So yeah, I will try my best to share. But yeah, it's more like, so that is why the self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy basically means that you have a prophecy that someone might hurt me, this person might reject me, these people might not like me. Okay, so we have a prophecy, we have um like a belief, an expectations in a form. So that is the prophecy. Okay, that is the fear. And now I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of people not liking me. So what I do next is I people please. Okay. Do as people say. I try to people please so that my fear do not turn true. Okay. So most of our behaviors are actually rooted in some form of fear, most of our destructive behaviors. And we might don't usually realize why we are doing certain things. We never question these parts of ourselves who do these things that are not good for us, that what are they afraid of, and once you question them, once you do that work, you realize that they're always afraid of something, and they're just trying to protect you by doing that behavior, no matter how destructive it seems, no matter how unhelpful it is, but they do that to protect you from that fear turning into truth. So in this case, I'm afraid that people might not like me. Okay, what I do is I people please. I do what they say so that they like me. And now, when you don't have any stand, when you just agree with everyone, and the thing is that people are not able to connect with the real you. They are only able to connect with the mask. So what happens is that they don't see the real you. And since they don't see the real you, you are like, okay, they love that mask, that persona that I have put out there, but they really don't like me. And this way, this behavior that you use to protect yourself from that fear turning out to be true, that I'm afraid that they might not like me, is actually um, strengthening that fear deep and deep, that I cannot show my real self ever because they like this persona, they would hate this one that is me. So that fear actually goes deeper and deeper. It enhances, it gains evidence that, okay, they like this, but I'm not this. So you're gathering more and more evidence for that fear again, that yes, they might not like me. So this is how, like, this fear is, uh, like your fear turns out to be true, your fear grows stronger. So I hope that I was able to explain it in, I don't know, more simpler or relatable terms. So the thing to do is that do not listen blindly to your fears. Do not listen to what your mind is telling you. Question it rationally. See if it is helpful for you. If it is helpful in your particular situation right now. It may have that behavior might have been helpful before in some situation. That is why you have that behavior. But right now, is it helpful in terms of what you really want? So you question that, and then you assess it and you make a rational decision based on it, rather than just listening to to your fears, to your mind, and just letting them run the show. You take that driver's seat, you take that control back. So yeah, that is what came up for me. I hope that it resonated. Let me know. um yeah, it does happen, Samira. Yeah, that is you know that is the cycle that happens when people please. That fear deepens even more, that they like this persona, they don't really like the real me, the authentic me, the genuine me. And yeah, so we start to believe in more that yes, they would not like us now you know Okay, I will get to the rest of the comments later, but let me say bye to Robin. Robin says, peace to all. Thanks, Anish. I'm going to Nicole's class. I hope that you have a fun time there, Robin. Thank you for staying with us as long you could. um, okay, so let's see. Okay, so Frank says, oh, so sweet, Kathy. Yeah, it was so sweet of Kathy. Kim says, happy birthday to Frank. Rhiannon says, yeah, I read that one. Okay, Samira says, I felt confused too, but it makes more sense now after your explanation, especially about fear. Another example is when somebody breaks up with his or her partner. in fear that they might not love them or break up with them. Exactly. So we tend to make the same fear come out true by our behaviors. Right? Yeah, you used the right example, Samira. Thank you for, adding to that. Okay. Yeah. So I hope that this meeting has resonated with someone here. It it made you reflect deeper on some of your behaviors and maybe ask that what are my fears beneath it? What am I afraid of? That I'm trying to protect myself for, from doing this. And that might be quite insightful. It has been, when I've worked with clients on this thing, it has been insightful for them to realize that, okay, this part was afraid of this. So I hope that insight comes up for you. Either it came right now or it comes later on. Okay, but anyway, let's move on to the next reading. Um, and let me know also, yeah, let me know, Frank, if it resonated, if it became clearer, or would you like to sit with it longer? So yeah, Tahania says, hello everyone, happy to join today. Happy to have you here, dear. You're just in time for our second reading. So let me take out the wheel again and let us spin. So hold in your mind whatever you need guidance on as we spin. Okay, so the book that came up is The Things You Can See Only When You Slow Down. It feels like an extension of today's quote. But yeah, the things you can see only when you slow down. How to Be Calm in a Busy World by Heyman Sunim. So give me a second to open this beautiful book. This is our book. And now let me choose some numbers for us. Okay, so my lovely people, I invite you guys to pick a number between 26 to 126. Again, no rush, take your time. You know, I will choose a number based on my intuition randomly, okay? Thank you, Raghu. Thank you, Lacey. Thank you, Tahania. Thank you, Samira. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Esther. Anyone else who would like to choose a number? Sorry, share a number? Okay, then. Let me pick a number. Hmm. The number that I'm feeling most called to is 123 by Esther. Thank you, Esther. So the author says if you have developed critical thinking but neglected emotional intelligence, then you may not be sensitive to the suffering of others. If you have developed emotional intelligence but neglected spiritual intelligence, then you may lose hope after seeing the world's suffering. If you have developed spiritual intelligence but neglected critical intelligence, then you may fall victim to the abuse of a cult. So, we need a good balance of critical thinking, critical intelligence, emotional intelligence, our ability to understand our emotions and express them and do the same with others. And our spiritual intelligence, whatever that means for each and every one of you. So we need a good mix of, all of these three things to function well in our life, to not, lack on any aspect. So that was the reading that came up. I guess it was pretty simple, so I don't need to elaborate. Let me know, Esther, if it resonated with you. Or maybe you guys can, contemplate, including me myself, that which aspect do I think am I doing good, on? Because remember our today's quote, we need to focus on both the things that are going well and not well. So, which aspect do I think that I'm doing pretty good on, and which aspect do I think that I'm lacking a little bit on, and what can I do there? So, reflect on those two questions and see what comes up for you. So, the three aspects are again our critical intelligence or critical thinking, our emotional intelligence, and our spiritual intelligence. Samira says, I'm definitely the second one. So, in many ways, I lose hope, unfortunately, but it's apparently very normal in my community, given the war back home and all the bad news I received prior to it in my. It seems like the last word cut off. But yeah, okay, in my home country. Yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense, given when an adversity strikes, when we are in a very, very difficult situation, when we are going through hard time, then it becomes very difficult to, to believe the hope. And in those exact times, sometimes we need more of that to support us go through them. So, since you mentioned that you feel like it's the second one, which is spiritual intelligence. So maybe asking yourself that what in terms of that aspect can I do to that would support me right now as all of this happens. It can be as simple as, sending wishes like loving kindness to your loved ones there or everyone there who is suffering, and including to yourself who is being worried because of what is happening. So, yeah, so thinking of something that you can do in that aspect that might help you feel supported right now in your situation. Samira says, I want to help those people, but not sure how to do that all the way from Canada other than praying. So yeah, you are doing something, not nothing at all, praying. And that has, you're sending a good, nice, positive energy. And sometimes, that's all we can do. So focusing on what I can control and what I can't, and just giving your energy more towards what you can. And that energy makes a lot of difference to a lot of people. Just a calm energy, a positive energy. That means so much. I've seen this like firsthand that when you're going through hard time, if you receive that in some way or form, it just makes it just creates a little bit of room to breathe, when you are in that situation. So you are doing enough, you're doing what you can. And Samira says, so meditation on a daily basis will help those of us who want to become more spiritual. What else can we do to improve the spiritual and critical thinking aspect? Thank you. So, in terms of the spiritual aspects, it's more of a personal thing. Like, asking yourself that when do you feel connected with something bigger than yourself? What are you doing at those moments? It can be praying, it can be meditating, it can be just spending some time in nature. That automatically just it has like the largest impact on you. You forget about yourself in this boundary and just there's this expansive feeling sometimes. For me, every time. But yeah, so just asking yourself, when do you feel connected with something bigger, something larger, something, whatever, however you define that, and doing that. And in terms of critical thinking, so the best approach that I've found is for critical thinking is more of like, CBT. Um, so yeah, in terms of that, like I already have a lot of content. You can go through that, and that would help you develop this ability to not believe your thoughts blindly, instead, learn to question them, to challenge them, to see which ones are helpful, which ones are not, and go with that. So, uh, okay, so let me share those resources for you and anyone else who is interested. So, you can start with this particular course, which is Transform Your Negative Thoughts and Master Healthy Thinking using CBT. So, it includes a lot of techniques to help you learn to question your to challenge your thoughts. Okay, so you can save it. It is, I guess, my second most popular course. And the first one is, and which is related to critical thinking, is this course, which is identify your common thinking errors. So basically, when we are thinking, there are certain errors that human beings make, and I've included them so you can, so whenever you are feeling distress, whenever your mind is just throwing negative thoughts at you, you can open this, you can see which type of thinking error am I making, because the chances are high you are making that. But, when you are feeling distressed, when you're feeling, miserable in some way. So you find that you apply the technique that is given in this course to counter that, to challenge that, to change, to shift that, you know. And the final one, which is okay. And by the way, in this course, I also have a lesson on called mental filters. I think I don't know what I named it, but the original name is mental filters, which actually gives you strategies to in relation to the quote that we discussed today, the explanation I give regarding, um, how we filter out information and we only keep one that is aligned with our already existing beliefs. So this would help you shift that. Okay. Um, and the final resource is to directly work on the root thing, which is the beliefs. So this course will help you identify them and also understand that whole process of how does filtering out work, how it is, like what all happens, how am I creating my own the results that I'm getting in my life. So yeah, these are the three resources that I have that will help you develop that critical thinking. So Samira says that was very helpful. Thanks for the explanation. I'm glad that it is. Okay, guys. So let's do one last reading for today and then we will wrap up. So, give me a second. So, this is our wheel. And again, bring to your mind whatever you need guidance on as we spin. So, the book that came up is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and It's All Small Stuff by Richard Carlson. So, let's see what this book wants to offer us. So, until I open the book, if you guys have received anything of value from this live up until now, if you enjoyed the space, and if you would like to make a contribution to help me keep the space going on, keep this to continue these lives, and to make a lot of other resources, then you can do so by making a small donation, and only if you feel called. There is no compulsion. So give me a second to choose some numbers from this book. So, my dear ones, the numbers between which I invite you guys to choose are 15 to 148. Here you go. Again, take your time. I will choose a number randomly based on my intuition, okay? Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Raghu. Thank you, Lacey. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Samira. Thank you, Stephanie. Anyone else? Thank you, Deb. Okay, so now let's see. So the number that I'm feeling most called to is 101 by Deb. Thank you, Deb. Okay, let's see what is on page number 101. So the heading is Be flexible with changes in your plans. So once I get something in my mind, a plan, it can be tricky to let go of it and go with the flow. I was taught, and to some degree it is certainly true, that success or successfully completing a project requires perseverance. At the same time, however, inflexibility creates an enormous amount of inner stress and is often irritating and insensitive to other people. I like to do majority of my writings in the wee hours of the morning. I might have the goal in this book, for example, to complete one or two strategies before anyone else in the house wakes up. But what happens if my 4-year-old wakes up early and walks upstairs to see me? My plans have certainly been altered, but how do I react? Or I might have the goal to go out for a run before going to the office. What happens if I get an emergency call from the office and have to skip my run? These are countless potential examples for all of us. Times when our plans suddenly change. Something we thought was going to take place doesn't. Something doesn't do what they say. Sorry, someone doesn't do what they say they would do. You make less money that you than you thought you would. Someone changes your plans without your consent. You have less time than previously planned. Something unexpected comes up, and on it goes. The question to ask yourself is, what's really important? We often use the excuse that it's natural to be frustrated when our plans change. That depends, however, on what your priorities are. Is it more important to stick to some rigid writing schedule or to be available to my 4-year-old? Is missing a 30-minute run worth getting upset over? The more general question is, what's more important? Getting what I want and keeping my plans, or learning to go with the flow? Clearly, to become a more peaceful person, you must prioritize being flexible over rigidity most of the time. Obviously, there will be exceptions. I have also found it helpful to expect that a certain percentage of plans will change. If I make allowance in my mind for this inevitability, then when it happens, I can say, here is one of those inevitabilities. So, two suggestions that firstly, whenever you make a plan, imagine that there is going to be some mess up, something that goes wrong, that doesn't go according to your plan. Because by now, since the experience we have had so far in our life, we know that things don't always turn out exactly as we planned, you know. So making room, expect that something would going to be, you know, haywire. You're going to fail certain times, you're going to have those setbacks, so that when they happen, you are not like shocked, taken aback. Your mind is like prepared in some way, at least emotionally. And the second thing is that when that thing happens, when you have planned certain things and something else happen, then asking yourself that in that moment, what is more important in this situation, you know, like what is more important to me in this area of my life? What kind of a person do I want to be? And then asking yourself in that moment that which of those things would help me make a decision, have an attitude that is more in alignment to what is more important to me. So that would help you make the right choice, take the right action in those situations, to choose to prioritize what is more important. Okay, so let's see. We have some comments. Ah, and before I read them, Deb, let me know if this reading resonated with you at all. Okay, let's see. Samira says, I can relate because I often tend to be a control freak. Um, I can relate to that as well. Lacey says, sorry. That is so ironic to hear this. I had to literally flip my plans for today and tomorrow with two friends because of a last minute need that my friend's family member had. I was able to be flexible and it felt good to be able to provide that for our relationship. Oh, you're a good friend, Lacey. I love that. I love the synchronicity, the alignment here. It's like the universe is saying, okay, you're going in the right direction, Lacey. You did good. Samira says, is there by chance any, is there by any chance a recording of this live? My sister totally would benefit from the session if she can listen to it later. Yeah, of course, Samira, you can access this live. Okay, let me show you where. So you can open my profile on Insight Timer, which is Anisha Maheshwari, and and once you go here, you go to the About section. You scroll down. You will see something like this. Or if you are on the website of Insight Timer, then you can go to my profile, and when you scroll all the way down, you will see this at the bottom. And here you will find today's live, which is episode 189, and all the previous lives. I have like created a playlist, and you will also find some of my other offerings, some special gifts, and everything here. Okay, so yeah, here you can find it, and I hope that um, it brings whatever your sister needs. Um, Deb says, totally resonated. I try hard to control my situation and get thrown off when things go wrong. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. That is like that is something that I also struggled with, and I sometimes struggle to right now as well. And the antidote to this whole thing is acceptance. When things don't go as we planned, then the first thing is to acknowledge and accept, maybe first your internal experience and then your outer situation. That is what has helped me, to see that, okay, this is happening, like this is the situation, and this is what my body is feeling. And it's okay to feel this way, that you can be here, whatever the emotion or sensation is. And once that happens, there is like a space and things start to, work from there. And okay, and Deb, I also like um have a course related to that, which is kind of named this way only. So the name is The Art of Acceptance, Finding Peace When Life Doesn't Go Your Way. So I hope that that can be a support, a resource when you are facing such a time, so that it can help you navigate through your inner feelings and the whole situation, so you can accept and move forward from it. So thank you for sharing, Deb, that it resonated. And yeah, I hope that this wisdom stays with you when you need it most. Tanya says, something that helps me is breathe and affirming that everything is working for my good. I'm safe. Love that affirmation. And exactly, the, what do you say? Like, the chances of this being good for you is the same as this being bad. Like, there are so many possibilities, and it's just our choice to believe what we are what what I want to believe in, which possibility do I want to believe in, which brings me more relief, which is more helpful right now in the situation. Not just relief, but more helpful as well. So yeah, I love that affirmation. And definitely, Dania, tapping into that, spiritual intelligence. um Samira says, great tip, Dania. I'm glad that you resonated with the Hanyas, Sheo. And I love that about the space that the wisdom doesn't arrive just from the book or from me. It arrives from every one of you, each and every one of you, in the form of words or just your plain simple presence and energy. So, yeah, thank you for sharing, for being here, for your presence. And yeah, that's it for this live. Um, I bow down to the divine within you all. Namaste. May you all be safe. May you all be healthy. May you all be happy. May you all live with ease. Okay. So, my lovely people, I hope to see you guys day after tomorrow on 16th at the same time. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's live, that it, delivered something that you needed today. Samira says thanks. Tanya says thank you. Welcome, Tanya, if that was for me. Samira says thanks a lot, Anisha, and everyone else here for the support, suggestions, and help in this live. I'm glad to hear that you received something of value, Samira. Frank says, thank you. You're welcome, Frank, and a very, very happy birthday to you. I hope that you have a wonderful, beautiful day today, and it turns, it brings you much more happiness like the coming week, the coming year brings you so much happiness. Lacey says, thank you, Anisha. Namaste. Namaste, Lacey. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you again. um, Happy weekend, Samira. Okay, bye, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful, beautiful day or night. See you soon.